Emily had been saving for a year to move out on her own. At 22, she finally made it happen. A small one-bedroom apartment just outside Nashville, Tennessee. It wasn't much. The carpet was old, the walls thin, and the building had a constant smell of stale smoke and microwave dinners. But to Emily, it was freedom. She worked part-time at a veterinary clinic and studied graphic design online in the evenings. Her days were simple and quiet, and the apartment complex, mostly home to older tenants and a few students, was uneventful. She liked it that way. The first few weeks went smoothly. She unpacked slowly, decorated the place with thrift store finds and IKEA furniture, and started a small herb garden on her windowsill. She even began sleeping better, something she had struggled with back at her parents' house. But then, small things began to feel off. She'd come home and swear the bathroom light had been left on. Her TV's input would be changed to HDMI 2 instead of HDMI 1. She thought maybe she was just scatterbrained. Moving was stressful. She was adjusting. Then her kitchen trash started filling faster than she remembered using it. The milk in her fridge was lower than it should have been. Once, she came home, and her bedroom window, always locked, was unlatched. Emily started locking her bedroom door at night, which she had never done before. She told herself it was just to feel safer in a new place. But deep down, she was starting to feel watched. She stopped inviting people over. She installed a chain lock on the front door and bought a cheap stick-on alarm that chirped when the door opened. It helped a little, but not enough. What Emily didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that someone had been living in her apartment. Not legally, not as a tenant. He wasn't even on the lease, a man in his late 30s, nameless to her but well known to local police for trespassing, loitering, and stalking, had slipped into the building weeks before she ever moved in. Maintenance had left the attic access open in a closet of the vacant unit next door. The man crawled in and found he could move through a narrow crawl space between the units. The walls weren't insulated well. One attic vent led straight into Emily's bedroom closet. It became his window. At first, he only watched. At night, he would press his face to the vent slats and watch her sleep, barely breathing, just listening. Her soft murmurs, her midnight coughs, the light of her phone screen glowing under the blanket. Then, after a few days, he got braver. The first time he entered her apartment, Emily was at work. He waited until the building emptied out for the afternoon. He knew her routine by then, and crept down from the attic into her closet. The vent panel came off easily. He landed silently on the floor, barefoot, careful not to disturb anything. He explored. He opened drawers, checked her mail, read her notebooks. He smelled her clothes. He took nothing at first, just soaked it in. The scent of lavender detergent, the faint perfume she wore on days she had class, the toothpaste in the sink. It became a routine. Whenever Emily left, he would enter, eat small things from her fridge, drink from her glasses, use her shampoo in the sink. He knew her schedule better than she did, and each night, after she returned home, locked her doors and drifted off to sleep, he would lie silently in the attic, just above her bed, smiling. Sometimes he would record her, not video, just the sound of her voice. From the attic vent, he would hold a cheap audio recorder and capture her singing softly to herself in the kitchen, talking to her cat, laughing at TikToks in bed. Once, she stood in front of her mirror for nearly 10 minutes, trying on outfits for a date. She didn't know someone above her was taking notes on what she chose. And when she came home later alone, he knew it hadn't gone well. That night he came down again. He lay on her couch, just breathing in her world. Later he stood in the hallway, watching her sleep for over an hour. He liked the feeling of being close but invisible. That Thursday, when Emily walked into the apartment, something felt wrong right away, but not in a dramatic, obvious way. It was the smell first. The apartment had a strange scent, like sweat and something metallic. Not strong, but unfamiliar, almost like the air had changed. She noticed the lamp near the couch was unplugged. She never unplugged it. Her keys, which she always tossed into the bowl by the door, were slightly out of place, pushed back further than she remembered. Then there was the tea mug. She had left it rinsed and upside down in the drying rack that morning. But now, it was upright and bone dry, like someone had dried it with a towel. Her cat, usually lounging on the windowsill, was hiding under the bed. She called out to him, but he wouldn't come. The apartment was silent, not calm, dead silent. She opened the fridge to grab a drink and noticed the cap of her orange juice was off-center. Her heart skipped. She tightened it back down and slowly closed the fridge, staring at her reflection in the metal door. That's when the air conditioner turned on, and she screamed. It wasn't the AC. It was a soft thud from above, in the attic, like someone shifting their weight. She backed up, eyes locked on the ceiling vent in the hallway. It didn't move, but she could feel it now. There was someone else here, somewhere above her, just inches away. She turned off every light, grabbed her phone, and walked silently to the living room, trying to breathe, trying to think. She didn't want to call the police for nothing. She needed proof. That's when she looked at the closet. The door was closed, but not latched, and the overhead vent above it was wide open, wide enough for a person to crawl through. Her stomach dropped, and then she heard it, a slow, deliberate inhale, not hers, from inside the closet. She bolted from the apartment barefoot, not even locking the door behind her. Police arrived within minutes. They searched the apartment and didn't find anyone at first, until one officer noticed the ceiling hatch in the hallway closet. They pulled it down, climbed up, and found the hiding place. Blankets, a flashlight, cans of food, a small notebook. Inside the notebook were chilling details. Drawings of Emily, sleeping, showering, eating, notes on her habits, what time she left each day, who she spoke to on the phone, what she said. Pages and pages of careful observation. The man was caught 2 days later, hiding in a nearby abandoned garage. He didn't resist. He told the police he just liked being close to her. Emily never returned to that apartment. She moved back home with her parents for a while. She started therapy. She had nightmares for months. About waking up and finding him at the foot of her bed, about discovering he'd never left, about realizing that maybe she hadn't been alone for far longer than she thought. She now lives in a high-rise with no attic access, and every night before bed, she checks every door, every lock, and every closet, twice, because what haunts her most isn't what the man did. It's what he could have done, and the fact that he was already inside before she ever felt unsafe.